Hello guys. Okay, let me make sure that I am struggling today. That is why the red lipstick is on. You know those days where you need a little extra, like, you just need a seam put together, but you're really not. So, I hope you guys are doing good. Today we are going to talk about medieval music. We're going to talk about Cantigas specifically, and I just got this book, so I wanted to show you this too. I think this is the most beautiful book that I have of music. It's so beautiful. Before I forget though, I'm sure someone will want to know what lipstick it is. Hi! I promise this is the only beauty thing I'm talking about today. This is from MAC, if you were wondering what color I'm wearing. It's a liquid lipstick, and there's a Laura Mercier red lip liner with it in the color, wait for it, Crimson. And this is in Feels So Grand. It's by MAC. It's a retro matte liquid lipstick color. Feels So Grand. Okay, that's it. So as I said, you guys, we're gonna have some fun looking at medieval music today. I have to watch the time because I do have some online lessons tonight. I was supposed to make carrot soup for our studio night, which is tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow. You know, soup is better the next day, so I was going to, hi, thank you for joining. So anyway, let me just have a little sip of tea as usual, because you know, we have our tea, and then we'll just jump right into it. So today I have some green tea, and I just brewed it in this little thing. It's really nice. It has a hook. It sits right over the what is this called? The cup, the mug. So it's just Essentia green tea. Okay. So last week I actually missed the live stream last week, but I did give you a video on how to tune your instrument. So this week we are going to, I'm just gonna grab my iPad because I wanted to just show you a few things that I've really been loving and I've been teaching. So I'm gonna go to Violin Online. Whoops. Violin Online, where are you? You're in one of my tabs. And can you guys see okay? Do you like my salt lamp? The salt lamp is like so beautiful right over there. So there's a section on Violin Online called the String Class, and it's so cool. I've been using this to kind of explore different time periods of music with my studio. And so we're focusing in the medieval and Renaissance time period. So, but there's all the time periods here. There's the Baroque, there's the classical, the Romantic, the 20th century, and then like some non-traditional things too. So by the end of this kind of like, it's not really a course, it's just an exploration with everyone of these different time periods. Like, it's just gonna be so cool. We're gonna know so much more about music. So I'm gonna click on Unit 1, and I did put a playlist together called Medieval and Renaissance Music on my YouTube page. So if you look in my playlists section, there's a playlist of medieval and Renaissance music. And I did link all of I found some nice recordings of some of the music that they touch on here. They only have like a little like fake instrument playing the thing here, but I put a playlist together with some really good groups playing the actual pieces here. So I wanted to share number 4 on the Unit 1 page. Number 4 is a piece by Hildegard von Bingen. So she was from Germany, and she lived during 1098 to 1179. And she was really, really influential. Like I keep holding this up so that you can see it, but I know you can't see it. So I'm gonna just show you what this piece originally looked like. That's a little small picture of that. So it's very cool. Hard to tell what the notes are because there really weren't notes back then. So she was very neat, and I think it's neat that this website uses her to just kind of put down as the very first piece in the medieval time. But there's many composers before her, and so much of the music during that time was from the church, because they were the ones that were needing to write down the music that they were singing in the services and whatnot. And the music during that time was mostly for the voice. And I'm just telling you the little bits and pieces that I've like learned from studying this, like brushing up on everything. So go explore and learn way more. I'm not an authority at all on any of this. I'm just an interested person exploring this. So so there's not a lot of surviving music for stringed instruments from that time. But this piece that I wanted to show us is really beautiful. You can find it in the playlist. It's called Columba Aspexit, and it's a chant. But it's really neat because there's no time signature. So there's a key signature, even though they really didn't have keys back then. It looks like a bunch of notes. For us here, just a bunch of eighth notes specifically, but they just keep in mind that they didn't really have eighth notes. So you can see for us they're grouped in twos, but don't be, don't be fooled. You can kind of play them triplety, or you can play them however you want to group them, because there's no grouping, there's no time signature, there's nothing. So for us today, it makes sense to visually see them as eighth notes, but I don't know if they really were eighth notes back then. So I'm gonna play it for you. And I'm gonna play it on the viola, just a tiny taste of it, not the whole thing. It would have been accompanied in a drone. So if you can imagine, if we're kind of in the key of G here, to add a drone, all you would need is a G. That's your first tone, and then nice. All you do is you get the first tone and then you count 5 notes. So G, A, B, C, D. So if you play G and D, you're going to get a 5th, and that was a interval that they used in the medieval time period to accompany a melody, because during that time you had a monophonic melody, so just one melody, and then you had a drone underneath. Or you could sing the exact same thing that person was singing. You could sing it an octave higher, an octave lower. It was really, really simple. Or you could sing it in fifths. But anyway, so if you can kind of imagine a drone. I tried to put like a garage band thing together. I'm like so technologically challenged. I was gonna try and record a drone so that I could have that in the background while I play this, but anyway, I'm gonna just play you a tiny bit. And so there's no time signature. I just want you to feel the timelessness of it and see if you can notice how I'm grouping things, because there are some longer notes. I'm gonna try and go towards those. Right? It's just an interpretation. This would have originally been for a voice. The first 3 lines. So another thought about this piece is that, and something to kind of think about as you're exploring medieval music, is that the note range is within kind of a 5th. So if we're kind of in the key of G, they didn't have keys back then, but for us this looks like it's the key of G. There's 1 sharp. You basically were you had a very small range of notes. Today we have this huge fingerboard with like a huge array of notes and a range of notes that we can play. But back then it was really, because music was designed for the voice, it was a small range. So Hildegard's keeping the note range kind of within a 5th. So if we're in the key of G, she's using G, A, B, C, D. So those are kind of the main notes that we're kind of exploring around with. And it's really beautiful when you go above the 5th. So when you're going to maybe the 6th, 7th or octave, or even the 9th, so the above the octave. Let's just listen to that, because I think it's something to keep in mind as you're exploring this music. So here's the beginning. This is all within the 5 notes. D, which is the fifth, but it's kind of a lower version. And this is the first time that we're going to go above a fifth, and it's really beautiful. That's the fifth note above, and here's an octave. And it just comes right back down. So it's just kind of, it's kind of cool. I like it. So that's my thoughts. This is just a few thoughts on the Kalimba Expexit. I don't know what it means. I should probably have looked up what it means, but this, you can just find it on Violin online and just check it out. We're looking at their medieval section right now. So let's see if there's something else. There was a couple other ones that I really liked out of this section. There's a thing, number 5, if I go back to the main table of contents of Unit 1 on Violin Online String Class, the String Class tab, there's number 5 is called the 6th Royal Estampe, and an estampe was apparently something that was written for instruments, so it was an instrumental piece, which is really unusual. I guess there's not a lot of them that survive, just because a lot of the music during that time was written for the voice. It's so cool. I was thinking about this last night before I went to bed. It's so awesome that our music that we hear today, at least in Western music, it originates from a sacred space. Like all of the music that we have in Western music, all of everything that we've learned about music from its beginning, kind of like in ancient Greece till now, it's like it comes from that much deeper, more meaningful place than just kind of having it be background music. I don't know why I'm so bothered by background music. I just can't listen to it. It's so distracting to me, but I don't know. I'm sure that I love background music as well. It's just that I think it's neat to just remember that music comes from this really sacred place, and it is a really sacred thing to be able to play music, and that it has this wonderful power to just put you in a different state of mind, you know? So, thank you. I did get my ears pierced. I had them pierced many times and then just let them close up, but I finally decided to get them pierced, so. Okay, but anyway, I like the 6 Royal Estampe. In the playlist that I created on my YouTube channel, you can just go look at my playlist. It's under Medieval and Renaissance music. And I think there's a few estampes in that you can listen to. And then we kind of go on to the Renaissance time period. So just a couple little songs from the medieval time period. And then we're getting into a piece by Henry VIII. It's called Hellas Madame, or Madame. So I don't know, but I think it means hello, madam. King Henry VIII of England lived between 1491 and 1547. And this is attributed to him, apparently he wrote this, but he did have a court composer there, I'm sure, to help him with all of this stuff. So, but this is very beautiful, and I love it. And it's a secular piece, so, at the court you gotta get your entertainment a little bit. So music was beginning in the Renaissance time period to be much more, at least composed and written down for entertainment purposes too. So this is really pretty. This one is in A minor. So if you're going to, play the chords along with it, you would just be playing, your A chord. Let's see. You'd have an E. You'd have your 1 chord and your 5 chord. So your A chord, and if you count 5 notes up, A, B, C, D, E, there's your 5 chord. You can literally just play an A. You don't have to play any of the other notes, and then you can play an E, and your ear will eventually tell you, if you're just holding a drone there for the whole time, you can do that with the Kalimba Expexit by Hildegard. A lot of the chant music is literally just supposed to be a drone. You don't even change the note. But for this, you're going to have actual chord changes. So this is the development of harmony that's kind of beginning, which is really cool. So in music, you're gonna use your 1 and 5 chords predominantly, and then there's sprinklings of other ones. So I think that there's a G chord in here, that would be I'm always so bad at this. So there's A, B, C, D, no, A? B, who else does this happen to, right? So A, B, C, D, G. This is like so stupid. I'm gonna just move on. You see what I mean? Like when I first started, the like not having it together but trying to have it together with red lipstick, like having the appearance of being together. So anyway, I don't know why I'm getting to a G there. I'm clearly forgetting a note, but anyway, the 1 and the 5 chord is A and E. There's a G in there somewhere, and I think that's it. But anyway, it sounds like this. It's really, really pretty. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I like that one a lot, and I would check that one out. There's a few arrangements on the playlist that I've made for this music. So I think that's about it. Oh, Kemp's Jig is very nice. That's number 9 in the unit. I really like this one. I didn't realize this, but a jig was apparently part of a comedic group. Like you would be part of the things that the troubadours or maybe the court musicians would do and actors would do. So they would like have a little comedy skit, and then they would do a dance of a jig and then like whatever else. So it was actually part of a little acting thing. But this is very pretty. And I'm gonna just play it an octave lower, or sorry, a 5th lower. So. It's a little bit longer, but just for the sake of time. So I would check those out. And then along with this, one of my beloved students pointed out that, well, she's been listening to medieval music, and on Spotify they kind of like throw other things at you, and so she came across these cantigas from medieval Spain. And so we're studying, we've been looking at Germany, and we've been looking at England so far. And but you know, during Spain in the medieval era, you had this influence of all these different like groups of people. You had, hi, thank you. You had the influence of like the Muslim groups, and then you had the Jewish influence, and then you had the Catholic influence, and probably some other influences. So you had this like meshing of all these different sounds and cultures and rhythms and everything. And so the cantigas are so cool. There's one in particular that I really love. It's called Cantiga 353. It is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. If you check out, I would really highly recommend that you check out the Rose Ensemble, like the flower, the Rose Ensemble. They are so good. They're so good. You can just get them on YouTube Music or wherever. But if you just Google their name, Rose Ensemble with Cantiga 353, you're gonna find the coolest song you've ever heard. It's so neat. So I'm gonna just play you a tiny bit of it. I don't have it printed out. They do have it actually in this book, but it's in a different mode, and I really like it in the D Dorian mode. We're gonna maybe touch base on modes a little bit. It's just I'd really like to be able to have a drone in the background, but I might talk about them a little bit. So it sounds like this. interpretation of it. But if you listen to the actual recording of, you know, the whole group playing it, it is just so cool. It starts with a solo, and the soloist is a cellist, and they're exploring the notes of a D minor chord. So, and I think it goes hand in hand with, you know, some of the other things that were going on in medieval Spain. By the way, that was apparently written by the king of Spain in 1252, Alfonso X, the Wise. So that's neat. A lot of kings were writing music during that time, which is so cool. The Cantigas are dedicated to the Virgin Mary. So they have this, they're also a sacred style of music, but they are a little bit more like rock and roll compared to what we heard previously. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so we're talking about the solos. So, during that time, the architecture kind of unfolded as well. Like, you weren't hit with the majesty of the architecture right away. It kind of, you'd go in, and then there's one room that's very beautiful, and then another room that's more beautiful, and then you come to another place that's just beautiful, and it just unfolds and unravels. And so, the solo that you're going to hear with the Cantiga, and I can't play it for you, you'll just have to check it out, Cantiga 353 from the Rose Ensemble, just Google that. He or she starts with a D minor chord, so he's basically starting on a D, and you're going to hear it unfold. And then kind of exploring that note with like some faster bow speeds, and then adding the fifth above D, so D to A, or something, neighboring notes, and then going to the octave above D, eventually kind of doing a passing tone to an F, to the octave D, and it's just so neat. It just unravels and unravels, and then they go right into the Cantiga itself. And I think that the cellist is just adding double stops to it as well. So you can really easily add double stops to it. Well, that's gonna take so long to explain to you, but it would look something like this. Depth of sound. You have to know a little bit of music theory. That's all. You have to know your fingerboard. We'll have to go over that another time, but let me see what time it is. I probably need to go soon. So let's see. I'm probably going to explore this book with this little group, our little tea time in the future. I think this is so beautiful. I just got it from Char. It's by Mel Bay. Cantigas. That's actually the name of the band. This picture of them, this beautiful picture, is actually the band. So, oh my gosh, hi Stephanie. I'm not leaving yet. You know, I babble for a little bit. So I'm always like, I'm leaving, and then I like babble for a little bit. So let me just read you a couple of the titles, and then I'll play you a couple of them that I really like from here. So it even comes with like an audio recording, but it's only like tiny samples. I wish that they had recorded, you know, the actual full song. But they have all these cantigas here. So apparently there's like thousands of them, but there's only a small selection of them here. And then Douce Dame de Jolie, that's by Guillaume. Let me see, de Machaut. Let me just go to page 40 because I haven't actually looked at that yet. I just put a little mark by it to remember. They do have it. There's even like a little blurb about it, which is so neat. They have some info. So 14th century composer, so Renaissance composer Guillaume de Machaut came from the Champagne region of France, building on the poetic and musical forms of the troubadours. Oh my gosh, troubadours are so cool. Guillaume de Machaut was an incredible composer too. So, I mean, composer and poet. So his poetry is very poignant. And also funny, too. He blended several voices together in a way that set the standard for the polyphonic compositions which followed the Renaissance. Douce Dame Jolie is a monophonic song, however, in the form known as a virelai. So it's telling you actually even the musical form of virelai. So there must be many different kinds of virelais out there, just like minuets and gavottes and whatnot. I did play this last time on the last live stream, so I'm not going to play it, but it's nice to have it in this book. They have green sleeves. They have just like so many songs, And from all over the world, they have jigs, they have aladas, that's another style. They have just a lot of folk music from England, Germany, Ireland, Scotland. Sorry, I have to like look up when I think. France, Spain, Italy. Did I say Italy yet? And it looks like even, let's see, Romania, or it's just so cool. It's just so cool. I literally got this in the mail yesterday, so I haven't really explored too much of it, but there's a beautiful song that I love. It's the very first song in the book. You know, the first song in the book has to be good. So this is called Erin Boat Song. It is so beautiful. It's from Scotland. This haunting folk air, an air is also a type of style too, or a musical form, captures the feeling of rowing a boat through ocean swells. The Isle of Arran, at the mouth of the Firth of Clyde in West Scotland, plays a ghostly trick of appearing and disappearing in the mist. So, that's neat. It's about an island then, I guess. Okay. And I'm playing this on the viola because I like the richness of the sound, so I'm literally just playing it like it's a violin. So I'm playing it a fifth lower if you were curious. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Pretty. I love that piece. I could play that for like hours. So I think that's it for now, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna try and kind of put out a little, you know, an actual lesson video. You don't have to switch to steel strings to sound. No, I use, honestly, I know this much about strings. So yeah, dominants are good strings. I use Vision solo strings personally. My violin has Eva's on it, Eva Perazzi strings. But you know what, strings, one little thought about strings is that, you know, if your violin is like a $200 violin, it's not gonna help you to have really expensive strings on it. So if you have a nice violin, then that's something that can benefit from really good strings. But if you have like kind of a dinky violin, that's fine. But having really expensive strings is not going to help it. So that's my small amount of thoughts on strings. So, and I have no clue about electric instruments. So I don't know if it matters with electric instruments, what kind of strings you have. But as I was saying, I'm gonna try and put out an actual video of like I have been doing, like your first violin lesson type videos, and then how to tune and how to, I don't even know if you guys have any requests on anything. I thought I could like make some videos, just kind of updating some like old videos that I have, because I have this nice couch with this pillow. So, and I just like this setup so much more. So I'm just trying to update some videos, and I was thinking of making like some tutorial videos. I'm really in love with the harp right now, so I have been watching harp tutorial videos and watching a lot of harpists teach, and it's been really inspiring for me as a teacher to kind of just get through that perspective of a beginner music student studying an instrument, because sometimes you don't really know so it's beneficial to have a person saying I don't know this versus just talking to a camera and being like, this is how to do this. So sometimes I kind of glance over questions that you might have, but at least in this format. But the harp teachers that I've been exploring, they do tutorials, and they'll show you like a tiny little section of the piece, like Amazing Grace or Happy Birthday or whatever, like Christmas songs, folk songs, whatever, and they're kind of like an easier version, so they're not like a really crazily hard version at all, but they'll show you a little bit of it, see if you like the song, and then they just kind of leave a link below where you can just buy the tutorial. And I don't know if you can buy the music, like you might have to just have the book, like you might just have to, unless they make their own arrangements. So I think I might kind of explore that option and just put the video lessons on my website that you could purchase for a small amount of money, like for the whole lesson on something if you wanted to learn a specific song. So, because I know it's expensive to take lessons. So anyways, you guys, lots of love. Thanks for joining, and I will see you next week, okay? Bye.